I sat in the pristine lobby of Maxwell Industries, my hands shaking slightly as I reviewed my presentation one last time. After 15 years of living in my sister Victoria's shadow, I was finally about to step into the light. The marketing director position at Maxwell was my dream job, and my innovative digital campaign strategy was exactly what they needed. Miss Sarah Maxwell, the receptionist called. "They're ready for you." I gathered my materials, straightened my blazer, and walked toward the conference room with confidence I'd practiced for weeks. This was my moment. But the moment I opened the door, I knew something was wrong. The executives' faces were tight with barely concealed hostility. The CEO, Thomas Maxwell himself, wouldn't meet my eyes. "Ms. Maxwell," he began, his voice cold, "I'm afraid we need to address some concerning information we've received about you." My stomach dropped as he slid a folder across the table. Inside were fabricated email screenshots showing me leaking confidential information from my previous jobs, fake performance reviews describing me as unstable and untrustworthy, and even doctored photos suggesting inappropriate behavior at company events. I recognized the handiwork immediately. Only one person could have done this. "We've received these from a highly trusted source," Thomas continued, "someone who claims to have worked with you extensively. Given these serious allegations, I'm sure you understand we can't proceed with this interview." I knew defending myself was pointless. Victoria's reputation in the industry was impeccable. The youngest VP at Sterling Communications, the golden girl of digital marketing. My word against hers would mean nothing. "I understand," I said quietly, gathering my things. "Thank you for your time." As I walked out of Maxwell Industries, my phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. "Heard your interview went badly. So sad. But you know what they say. Cream rises to the top. You'll never be successful like me, little sister. Know your place." I smiled, thinking about the meeting I had scheduled for that afternoon. Victoria had no idea that while she'd been building her reputation at Sterling Communications, I'd been building something much bigger. 3 years earlier, I'd started Phoenix Digital as a small marketing consultancy operating under my mother's maiden name, Sarah Chen. Victoria never paid attention to my little freelance business, too busy climbing the corporate ladder to notice what I was creating. Through careful strategy and innovative campaigns, Phoenix Digital grew rapidly. I reinvested every penny of profit, acquired smaller agencies, and developed proprietary marketing technology that revolutionized how companies approach digital advertising. Last year, I transformed Phoenix Digital into Phoenix Corporation, a holding company that now owns 30 marketing and technology firms across the country. Our latest acquisition, Maxwell Industries. The paperwork would be finalized tomorrow morning. Thomas Maxwell didn't know it yet, but he just insulted his new boss. I drove straight from the failed interview to my real office, the top floor of the Phoenix building downtown. My assistant, David, met me at the elevator. "How was your morning of playing rejected job applicant?" he asked with a knowing smile. "Enlightening," I replied, settling behind my desk. "Is everything ready for tomorrow's Maxwell acquisition announcement?" "Yes, Ms. Chen. Though I still don't understand why you went through with the interview when you already own the company." I pulled up Victoria's text message. Let's just say I needed to understand exactly who I'm dealing with. "How's the Sterling communication situation progressing?" David handed me a tablet displaying financial reports. "Sterling's stock has dropped 30% since we started acquiring their clients. Victoria's performance metrics are falling. Sources say she's desperate to jump ship." And the position we posted at Phoenix. Her application came in this morning. Interview scheduled for next month. I leaned back in my chair, looking out at the city skyline. Victoria had spent years sabotaging my career, convinced that her success depended on my failure. She had spread rumors, undermined my projects, and poisoned my professional relationships. But she'd been so focused on keeping me down that she never noticed me building an empire around her. Now, every major marketing firm in the city was either owned by Phoenix Corp or struggling to compete with us. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Victoria. "Don't feel too bad about Maxwell. Some people just aren't cut out for success. Dinner at Mom and Dad's on Sunday." I thought about our parents who'd always believed Victoria's lies about me, who dismissed my business ventures as cute little projects, while celebrating Victoria's every promotion. They had no idea that their unsuccessful daughter now controlled a billion-dollar corporation. That the little sister they pitied was about to become one of the most powerful people in the industry. Thanks for the concern, I texted back. Can't make dinner, too busy with work. Good luck with your job search. David cleared his throat. The Maxwell acquisition papers just came in. Would you like to sign them now? I picked up my pen, thinking about Thomas Maxwell's dismissive expression, about Victoria's smug text messages, about years of being treated as second best. One more thing, I said. When Victoria comes in for her interview next month, make sure she waits at least an hour in the lobby. I want her to really appreciate the moment she realizes exactly who she's dealing with. I signed the papers with a flourish. Tomorrow, the business world would learn that Phoenix Corporation had acquired Maxwell Industries. In 1 month, Victoria would learn that her unsuccessful little sister owned not just Maxwell, but half the marketing firms in the city. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's letting them discover just how wrong they've been all along. That evening, as I reviewed the final details of the Maxwell acquisition, my phone lit up with an industry news alert. Sterling Communications loses 3 major accounts to Phoenix Corp. I smiled, imagining Victoria's panic as her perfect world began to crumble. She had no idea that every account she lost, every client who abandoned Sterling, was part of my carefully orchestrated plan. Ms. Chen, David appeared at my door. The board meeting is about to start. They're eager to hear about the Maxwell acquisition. I stood straightening my jacket, the same one I'd worn to the failed interview that morning. Have we received Victoria's complete application package for the Phoenix position? Yes, including a rather impressive letter of recommendation from Sterling's CEO. Perfect. Frame it. I want it on my wall when she comes in for her interview. Some people say success is the best revenge, but I've learned that true satisfaction comes from letting people destroy themselves while you quietly build an empire they never saw coming. 1 month after the Maxwell acquisition, I sat in my executive office reviewing the morning's agenda. Victoria's interview was scheduled for 9 a.m. It was now 10:15. How's our guest doing? I asked David through the intercom. Getting quite agitated, he replied, amusement in his voice. She's mentioned her senior VP status at Sterling about 12 times. Should I send her in? I glanced at her framed job application on my wall, right next to the news article about Phoenix Corp's acquisition of Maxwell Industries. Give her another 15 minutes. I want her to remember every second of this. The past month had been transformative for both of us. While Phoenix Corp's success made headlines, Sterling Communications hemorrhaged clients. Victoria's perfect record crumbled as account after account moved to Phoenix's subsidiaries. My phone buzzed. A text from our mother. Victoria's so stressed about this interview. Please tell me you're not still upset about that silly Maxwell thing. She was just looking out for you. I didn't reply. Let them keep believing that Victoria was the successful one. The truth would be so much sweeter coming as a complete surprise. At 10:30 sharp, I pressed the intercom. Sent her in. Victoria burst through the door in designer clothes that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary. Her confidence faltered slightly when she saw the size of the office, the view of the city, the clear signs of power she hadn't expected to encounter. I'm so sorry, she began, her voice sickly sweet. But I've been waiting for over an hour. I had a meeting scheduled with Sarah Chen, the CEO. I turned my chair slowly, watching as recognition dawned on her face. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Victoria's expensive purse slipped from her fingers, hitting the floor with a thud. Hello, sister, I said calmly. Please have a seat. She stumbled backward. This is impossible. You're not, you can't be. Sarah Chen, owner of Phoenix Corporation, the CEO who just acquired Maxwell Industries. I smiled. The same Maxwell Industries where you sabotaged my interview? Please sit. We have so much to discuss. She sank into the chair, her face ashen. But you've never what? Succeeded? Built anything worthwhile? I pulled out a folder. Let's review your application, shall we? It says here you're looking for new opportunities because Sterling Communications isn't providing enough growth potential. Interesting, considering how their troubles began right around the time Phoenix started acquiring their clients. Victoria's eyes darted to the door. You orchestrated Sterling's decline. Just like you orchestrated the failure of every job opportunity I ever had. I opened my laptop, turning the screen toward her. Shall we look at the emails you sent to Maxwell? Or perhaps the ones you sent to Anderson Media last year? Or Thomson Digital the year before? That was different, she protested weakly. I was protecting my position. You weren't ready for those roles. No, I corrected her. You were sabotaging me because you couldn't stand the idea of me succeeding. But here's what you never understood, Victoria. While you were playing corporate politics, I was building an empire. I pressed a button on my desk, and the wall of screens behind me lit up, showing Phoenix Corp's organizational chart. Dozens of companies, including Maxwell Industries, all connected back to my position at the top. Every time you blocked my path to a job, I acquired another company. Every time you spread lies about me, I signed another client. And now, I gestured to her application. Now you're begging me for a job. She straightened in her chair, attempting to recover her dignity. You can't just. Can't what? Fire the entire Maxwell board for how they treated me last month? Already done. Acquire Sterling Communications. That deal closes next week. Tell our parents that their unsuccessful daughter now owns half the marketing firms in the city. That's happening at dinner on Sunday. Victoria's face crumpled. Please, I need this job. Sterling is falling apart. Sterling is falling apart because I wanted it to, I said quietly. Just like I wanted you to sit in that lobby for an hour and a half, feeling exactly how I felt every time you made me wait outside an interview, knowing you'd already sabotaged my chances. I stood up, walking to the window. But unlike you, I'm not going to sabotage your career. Instead, I'm going to show you exactly what it feels like to earn success on your own merits. What do you mean? I turned back to her. I'm offering you a job, Victoria, not at Phoenix Corp, but at one of our smallest subsidiaries. Entry-level position. No special treatment, no fancy title. You'll start at the bottom, just like I did. Every promotion, every opportunity will be based solely on your actual performance. Entry level? She whispered, horrified. But I'm a senior VP. Not anymore. Sterling's board accepts my purchase offer tomorrow morning. So what will it be? A chance to prove yourself without sabotaging others, or would you prefer to explain to our parents why you're unemployed? The next day, Victoria started her new job as a junior account coordinator at a small digital marketing firm in the suburbs. She didn't know it yet, but every report about her performance would come directly to my desk. That Sunday, I hosted a family dinner at my penthouse apartment, the one I'd kept secret all these years. Our parents arrived first, their eyes wide as they took in the obvious signs of wealth they'd never noticed before. Sarah, Mom began hesitantly, we had no idea. No, I cut her off, you didn't, because you chose to believe what Victoria told you about me instead of seeing what I was actually building. The truth came out over dinner. Every detail about Phoenix Corp, about Victoria's sabotage, about my years of quiet success. Our parents sat in stunned silence as their understanding of their daughters completely reversed. Why didn't you tell us? Dad finally asked. Would you have believed me? Or would you have dismissed it as another cute little project while praising Victoria's latest promotion? Victoria arrived last, wearing the standard business casual attire required at her new entry-level position. She looked exhausted after her first week of actual work. How's the new job? I asked innocently as she slumped into her chair. Fine, she muttered. The commute is long. The work is demanding. But I replied, maybe now you'll understand that true success isn't about keeping others down. It's about building something meaningful. Later that evening, after our parents and Victoria had left, I stood on my balcony looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, my sister was probably crying about her fall from grace. Our parents were likely questioning every assumption they ever made about their daughters. But I felt no satisfaction in their distress. Instead, I felt something better. Freedom. Freedom from pretending to be less than I was. Freedom from Victoria's constant sabotage. Freedom to finally be recognized for what I built. The next morning, I received Victoria's first performance review from her supervisor. Struggling to adapt to entry-level responsibilities. Expects special treatment. Needs to improve basic skills. I smiled and filed it away. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone's success. It's about forcing them to earn it honestly for the first time in their life. 3 months later, Victoria was still at her entry-level job. learning what it meant to work without shortcuts or sabotage. Our parents had stopped comparing us at family dinners. And me? I was too busy running my empire to worry about proving myself anymore. Success, I'd learned, doesn't need to be announced. Sometimes it's better to let people discover it on their own, preferably while sitting in your lobby for an hour and a half.